Welcome to the 91 Day Business Spotlight Live. I'm your host, Jonathan Maston. I am thrilled today to have with me Glenda Kroll from Toronto, Canada. And we're going to talk a little bit about Glenda and her business and how she helps empower women in their lives. So, Glenda, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to have you here and to chat with you a little bit. Tell us a little bit, and our audience, a little bit about yourself and who you serve and how you make their lives better, Glenda.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me on your show today. I'm excited to be here. So, what am I about? I'm about empowering other women because myself, it's too many times in my life where I have fallen flat on my face and had to restart life all over again. And I know how difficult it can be for a woman who's gone through, whether it's job loss, maybe has gone through a relationship breakup, divorce. So many things happen to us in our lives. And sometimes when those things happen, they break us and break us to the point where we can't get back up again. So instead of being the victim, I want women to learn how to become the victor of their lives and create something for themselves. And that's what I do. I help you to recreate who you need to be. Find out where your talents are. Find out what is happening in your life or it's happened before that you have actually done some great things to, and bring them into the forefront of your life and build on those things. And that's what I've done with my own life, from starting off where I have fallen down, had a relationship where I lost my business and everything else and had to start all over again. We start by looking back what your strong points are in your life, where you have achieved things, the great things, and no matter how big or small, anyways, because sometimes it's those little crumbs that help us build ourselves up. And now I'm already starting to also create a group of women to help them invest in real estate. Just like I did. Many years ago, I had to start creating and looking out at myself. And I always found that the real estate was one of the areas of my life that I really started to focus on. I went to mentors, I started learning about it, and then I bought my first property and I started building it. I went from creating a single family dwelling and converting it into a legal duplex, and ended up being a landlord. And this, you know what? It's all about investing in yourself and then learning by somebody who's already been there, somebody who's already made the mistakes, because you know what? It's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. And that's what I want to teach women. Let's get up together and build yourself up and become stronger. And the best way is learning, because if you can have those people behind you that help build you, maybe at that time you don't have the confidence, but if you have somebody who has the confidence for you, then that's the best way to building yourself up, is by allowing somebody to hold you up during that time that you might not be as strong as you should be, or that you will be moving forward.
I love how you're so passionate about that, Glenda, and how you help women in those areas. Talk to us a little bit about your story, if you would, and share the aspects that you're willing to. But talk to us a little bit about what you've gone through and what caused you to move into this coaching role where you can help women empower themselves for where they're at.
Oh, so I'm an open book, because I believe things that have happened to me for a reason. And for my reason, it is to empower others through. So I started my journey as a very young girl. I grew up the youngest of four kids. I had two brothers who have special needs. So I learned to start empowering people at a very young age, just as that young child, when I had two brothers that couldn't do the average things that most other siblings could do. And as I grew out of those things, you see, what ends up happening is, being the youngest of children who had special needs, I didn't have the attention that most children would have, because my parents were busy. They had ran a business, they had all sorts of things. And the last thing they needed was, to spend time on building somebody else like me. They always felt, oh, she was strong, she could do it on her own. So I learned to create things on my own. And then what ended up happening is, as I built, and I went from becoming a sales clerk and not enjoying that, to building up. And then from that, I became a supervisor and kept on building my life. And then when one thing closed, another door opened. And that's when every single time I started at the bottom and built myself back up. Then it tamed into where I got married. And my first marriage ended up 12 years later in divorce. The divorce was brutal. I ended up in $200,000 worth of debt. And then at one point, I believed it was nobody was listening to what I was going through or my children. So I decided to take it over on my own. I walked into court and represented myself. And that's when my life started to change. Many years later, I got into another business. And then again, 14 years later, that relationship ended. I lost my relationship, my house, my car, everything. I didn't land in with a place to go. And at that point in time, I had to rebuild and recreate everything that I was. And at that point, I learned that I wasn't going to sit down and be the victim of that. Made sure that during that time, well, I was trying to get out of the relationship, which is another full story.
Sure, sure.
And what I did is I created a life during the time that I was in this relationship that did not serve me well at all. And I built myself up. And after it was finished, that's when I started learning about real estate, investing in my future, getting involved with people with special needs that needed families that needed support. It's always been about empowering others, because when I went through a lot of things, I had to do it alone. And I believe that nobody should have to do things alone all by themselves. It's very, very difficult. But now I am here at this wonderful time in my life to help empower those women that are being knocked down, the women that feel that there's nothing that they can do, or they just don't know where to begin. I have that kind of thing in me that I always seem to find the way. I'm very resilient, and I'm very much that type of person that finds the solution in any dark mold. So for me, it's all about empowering other women so I can help them to grow and be their best selves.
No, I appreciate you sharing your story and being an open book. It makes this so much more powerful to hear the things that you've gone through. So I so appreciate that. Glenda, tell me if we've got women watching today and they're interested in learning more about the coaching that you offer and how you can help them find maybe new peace, new empowerment in their life, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you, Glenda?
Well, I'm on Facebook as I am Glenda Kroll. Last name is Kroll. My email is info@glendakroll.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm noted as the Wise Woman's Word on Instagram. I'm all around. I'm on LinkedIn as I am Glenda Kroll, and I love to have conversations with people. So if you've got something that you're wondering about, how to get out of, how to move forward in your life, you can reach out to me. I offer a free 45 minutes session with you, give you a little bit of a roadmap to help you move forward. And I'm just here to service you and be a friend to you.
I so appreciate that. I love that. So, Glenda, as we bring the plane in for a landing here on this 91-day Spotlight Live, tell us, if you would, any parting words of wisdom for any women that are listening right now that maybe are struggling and wondering what to do next. What words of wisdom would you give them in parting?
Just remember that whatever happens is not something that stays forever. We will create what we want to, but you have a choice to make. Your choice is either you will make it through or you won't. Either way, it's right. So figure out that you will be able to make it through. You might need a little bit of a mentor or coach to help you build you up and keep you going, but you will make it through. A positive, strong mindset is the only thing that you really need to get you going.
That's great advice. Great advice. And I think so important to remember, especially when we're in the midst of those trials and tribulations, that, this may not matter or may not be a very big deal a year from now. And so let's not blow it out of proportion. So, Glenda, I want to thank you for taking time to join us today from Toronto and share your story. And I want to encourage anyone listening, if Glenda's message is resonating with you, please reach out to her, find out what she may be able to do to help you take those next steps. And certainly with a free 45-minute consultation, there's no risk to you in doing that. So thank you for watching this live, or if you're watching on the replay, we're grateful for you. Glenda, we're grateful for you as well. And I just want to thank you so much for your time today. With that, everyone, make it a great day, and we'll see you on the other